Hot hatchbacks are getting faster and ever more sophisticated nowadays, and the Renault Megane RS 300 Trophy is one of the fastest and most complex of them all right now. It has adjustable four-wheel steering, a very tricky diff at the front, and a highly tuned 1.8 litre four-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 296 bhp and a strong-sounding 295 pounds-feet of torque. And it costs just a touch less than 32 grand. The Golf GTI TCR, on the other hand, is less technical in its outlook perhaps, but actually costs more than the Renault Sport at £35,305. For that, you get 286 bhp from its venerable 2-litre turbocharged engine, a 7-speed DSG whether you want one or not, plus a set of uprated brakes and some dubious looking TCR decals on the doors to go with them. So, key question then, which is quickest around the coastal circuit at Anglesey? Golf first, let's start the process of finding out.
Feels good, the TCR. Feels quantifiably different from a Golf GTI. Anywhere really, but especially on a track. You've got the auto DSG only. That is your only option of transmission, which, in terms of the 0 to 62 time, is actually pretty good because you get 5 6 to 60 because it just works brilliantly when you go off the line. But actually, around this track at Anglesey, I'm not sure it works as well as a manual because there are a couple of points where it just upshifts absolutely at the moment that you don't want it to, and you've got no option because you can't kind of hold it against the rev limiter. So that might be a bit of an issue when setting the lap time, but it does feel pretty tidy on the move. It just feels sharper and that little bit more agile than a Golf GTI. It's got proper poke too. 286 horsepower, well 290 PS, 380 newton meters of torque. But it's the brakes that define the TCR, probably more than anything else, and the front end because it's got quite a trick diff. It's good. It's quick, but I don't know exactly how quick it's going to be relative to the Renault. I suspect it might struggle a bit because the Renault has got that little bit extra torque and a touch less weight. Let's see. Let's get this stopwatch out and find out.
One minute 22.5 isn't a bad time from the GTI TCR, but neither is it what you'd call a benchmark lap. The fastest hot hatch we've ever timed around Anglesey is the Seat Leon Cupra Sub 8, which did a 1 minute 19.1. albeit on far more trick tyres than either of these two are wearing. So, could the Renault get anywhere near that time?
Right, the moment you start to move in the Megane, it feels like a more serious hot hatch. It sounds like a more serious hot hatch as well. I mean, but it does do that. It's got this four-wheel steering system, and you can change the characteristics of the four-wheel steering system between kind of normal, sporty and race, which just makes the car more pointy, which is exactly what you want on a track. But it does make it a bit lively like that on turning. If you back off during turning, you are going to have to deal with a gob full of lift-off oversteer, which is amusing, but it's not very quick. So what you do need to do is get the whole lot sorted out before you turn in, so it's nice and neat on the brakes. Kind of drive it a little bit like a 911. Get all your braking neatly done on the way in, nice and balanced mid-corner, like that, and then get on the throttle. Get on the throttle as early as possible. Make use of the diff, make use of the four-wheel steering, and then the Renault does feel a bit tidy actually after the Golf. Feels more nimble, feels quicker in a straight line too. The Renault just feels more agile, pokier down the straights, grippier in the corners, stops better. It is going to be faster than the Golf, I predict. By how much? I don't know. It feels a good 1.5 to 2 seconds quicker to me. So let's find out.
In the end, the RS300 murdered the VW's lap time. In simple terms, it had more grip, better traction, more poke down the straights, and was a lot more adjustable in the corners. Even so, the RS was still well behind the Cupra Sub-8's record hot hatch lap time. To beat that, we'll need to come back with the Trophy-R version of the Megane RS, which is something we plan to do in the not too distant future. But until then, good though the regular RS300 Trophy is, the Sub-8 Seat remains king of the hill, for the time being.